Everybody, what is going on? It's Bill with Franklin Loan Center, and hey, something we're seeing a lot of in the market right now is a pretty significant increase in the number of people that are buying new construction versus existing homes, right? And so, and it's obvious. I mean, and I'm talking about particularly here in like kind of Temecula area, Southwest Riverside, whatever. And it's pretty obvious why we're seeing that, right? And it's because there's so much new construction going on right now, and then there's another piece of this that I think is really important to look at, and it's really genius on the builders' parts, right? Is what they're doing is they're offering these really low interest rates to get you into the house, and I mean it makes a ton of sense. And it's like, look, they'd rather pay to buy your rate down than to reduce the price to whatever extent possible, right? So makes perfect sense. But I just want to kind of play with some numbers really quick to show everybody what this might really look like, right? And so what I did is I just put some payments together based on a $700,000 purchase. I compared new construction to existing, right? So there's a couple of things about, so existing homes, typically lower taxes, a lot of places with no HOA dues. So the first scenario is an existing home, $700,000 purchase price. I just used 20% down. I picked 6.5% for an interest rate. For what it's worth, Freddie Mac today is like 6.42. So whatever, just pick 6.5. Everybody's rate will be different. Of course, I'm not trying to sell a rate here. I'm just like using it for illustrative purposes. And so I'm using a 1.2% tax rate and no HOA dues, right? And so that payment works out to about $4,440, right? Something in that ballpark. So new construction, same scenario, $700,000 purchase price, 20% down. A typical tax rate that I'm seeing, and this is a blended tax rate, so this is the base tax rate at typically somewhere in the 1.1% range, plus special assessments, what gives us a blended rate, again, on new construction. 1.8 I'm seeing really commonly. There's a lot of places I'm seeing significantly higher than that even. So, but if I do a 1.8% tax, I used $150 for HOA dues. Almost all of these neighborhoods are gonna have some level of HOA dues, right? But I did use the 5% interest rate, and that payment is $4,400. So you've got $4,440 for the existing home purchase at lower taxes and no HOA dues versus the $4,400, so a $40 difference for the existing home, but at a 5% interest rate with higher taxes and HOA dues, right? So payments almost identical. Yes, that rate is great. Here's what I think needs to be considered on these things as well. Actually, a couple of things. One is regarding the rate. Like if rates do come down, I mean, rates would have to go down to 4.5 or 4% before you refinance the new construction rate, right? But, let's say rates go from 6.5 and they get down to 5.5, right? It doesn't seem like too much of a stretch. We've been thinking that's going to happen for a long time. There's no guarantee, but let's say it goes down to 5.5. Now all of a sudden that payment drops to roughly $4,080, right? So now you're like $300 and change less on the existing house if you get the chance to refinance that down, right? So you go from like roughly the same payment to $300 less, and you're not going to have the same refinance opportunity on that new construction at the same time. So I guess I just like to throw this out. I mean, obvious other things with new construction is you don't generally get a backyard. You don't get window covering, some things like that. So there's some additional cost up front that you're gonna, or not, maybe not up front, but as you're settling into the house that you've got to take care of as well. So, look, I like new construction. I bought a new construction house, right? So I'm not saying it's a terrible idea. I'm just saying that, look, I mean, there's so much talk about interest rates and how buying down interest rates is so important, and I love that. I'm a big proponent of that. But there's other things to consider on some of these new construction sites that that need to be thrown into the full equation. And it's easy. I mean, like you walk into these new construction sites and they are beautifully done. The models, they look beautiful. They're everything, right? I mean, it's so easy to get pulled in, and it's a perfect house for a lot of people. But for people that are like really lured in by that rate, might not quite be what you're thinking. So just wanted to kind of do that quick comparison for you because it is a growing portion of the market, that new construction, and just kind of point that out. So that's all I have today. I'm Bill. I'm with Franklin Loan Center, and I'll see y'all next week.